Each morning I trained not just my body, but my mind. Before the world could shape me, I shaped myself. I did not leave my discipline to chance. I created it the moment I opened my eyes. Most people wake up and drift. They scroll, they delay, they react. But I used the silence of the morning to sharpen my thinking. I built focus before the world offered distractions. I controlled my breath before chaos had a chance to enter. Discipline begins in the shadows. It begins when no one is watching. You must learn to win the morning before you can win the day. That's how I became strong, not just in body, but in mind. And if you want the same strength, then listen closely. I will show you how. I woke before the world, not because I had to, but because I chose to lead, not follow. In those early hours, before the noise, before the demands, there is power. Silence is a gift, but only for those who rise to meet it. While others sleep, I trained. While others dreamed, I built discipline. Morning is not just a time, it is an opportunity to prepare your mind before life distracts you. If you want clarity, rise before confusion. If you want control, act before the world takes it. That is where strength begins, in the stillness before the storm. The moment you wake up, your mind is fresh, empty like a still pond. But most people pollute it immediately. They grab their phones, scroll through noise, and fill their minds with chaos. I did the opposite. I began my day in stillness, before movement, before thinking, before speaking, just the breath, just the silence. In that calm, I could hear myself. I could control my mind before the world tried to. If you begin in stillness, you move through the day with clarity. If you begin in noise, you carry confusion. Be still first, then act. That is the way of the warrior. Every morning I ask myself, who will I be today? What will I allow? What will I create? The mind is like a ship. Without direction, it drifts. Most people live their days without choosing their path. But I chose mine the moment I woke up. I set my intention like a sword, sharp, clear, and direct. You must give your mind a command, or it will follow anything. Before the world speaks to you, speak to yourself. Decide your focus, decide your energy, decide your standard. If you don't lead your mind, something else will. The body is not separate from the mind, they are one. When I moved my body each morning, I was not just training muscles. I was waking my focus, my energy, my discipline. Motion is clarity. The still body leads to a still, dull mind. But once I moved, my thoughts sharpened, my purpose returned. The body leads the brain. This is why I trained every day, even when I didn't feel like it. Movement is medicine, not just for the body, but for the soul. When I stretched, punched, or breathed deeply through a routine, I was aligning myself. The chaos of yesterday faded, and the power of now returned. If your mind feels stuck, move. If your thoughts feel cloudy, move. Discipline is born through sweat, not just sitting still. Your first movement of the day sets your mental rhythm. If you choose stillness for too long, your energy falls. But if you rise and move with force, you awaken the warrior within. My routines were not always long, but they were sacred. A few movements done with intensity could prepare me for a full day of action and purpose. The mornings I didn't want to train were the mornings I needed it most. That resistance is a signal. It means your mind wants comfort, but growth demands challenge. So I moved anyway. Even 5 kicks, even 1 round. Movement doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be intentional. That's how you win the inner war. I treated my body like a blade. It had to stay sharp. And every morning was a sharpening session. Push-ups, punches, breathing, whatever I had, I used it. I didn't wait for perfect conditions. I trained in silence, in shadows, alone. Because I knew the body must be tested daily if the mind is to remain unshakable. When your blood flows, your thoughts slow. You begin to see clearly. You stop reacting and start responding. That is what movement gave me. Awareness, calmness, precision. Most people chase energy through caffeine or stimulation. But I built mine through movement. Real energy comes from within. You don't have to be an athlete to train like a warrior. You only need to commit to movement as a mental tool. Walk, stretch, breathe, shadow box. Just move. The point is not to impress. The point is to activate your mind through physical presence. Once the body is awake, the brain has no choice but to follow. I never let a day pass without giving something to my body. And in return, it gave me strength, speed, and discipline. But most importantly, it gave me mental clarity. The body is the path to the mind. Ignore it, and the mind will suffer. Move it, and the mind will sharpen like a blade under pressure. You must move with purpose. Mindless movement is just motion. But when you strike with awareness, breathe with control, and push through resistance, you are practicing domination. Every drop of sweat was a message to my mind. I am in control. I do not wait for power. I create it. The warrior does not need a gym. He needs space, breath, and intent. I trained in my room, in the woods, wherever I stood, because I was not training for the crowd. I was training for the battle inside. When I moved, I told my mind, we are not waiting. We are creating strength right now. Weakness often begins with a lack of motion. People don't break down all at once. They rust slowly through stillness. But when you move daily, you prevent decay. You stay ready. You stay aware. My body became my alarm clock. It told me when I was drifting and helped me come back to purpose. So I say, move your body, sharpen your mind. Start your day in power, not passivity. Do not wait for the perfect time. The moment you wake, you are given the chance to step into discipline. Take it. Sweat with intention. Breathe with awareness. And let your movement remind your mind, you are not here to drift. You are here to dominate. Your thoughts are like your muscles. They grow through repetition. One powerful thought is not enough. You must train it daily. Every morning I chose what to think, just like I chose how to move. I repeated thoughts of clarity, of strength, of purpose. Why? Because weak thoughts left unchallenged become habits, and habits shape destiny. Most people let their thoughts control them. They wake up and accept whatever enters their mind. I did the opposite. I told my mind what to think. I fed it truth, discipline, and simplicity. Just like training a technique, I practiced powerful thoughts again and again until they became automatic, even under pressure. A single negative thought can grow like a weed, but you don't fight weeds by hoping. They must be pulled. I learned to catch weak thoughts early. The moment I noticed doubt or fear, I stopped, breathed, and replaced it with strength. One rep, then another. This was mental training, no different than punching or kicking. You become what you think most often. So I made sure my most frequent thoughts were precise, powerful, and clear. Not cluttered, not dramatic, just direct. When I repeated, I am calm, I am sharp, I am in control, it wasn't a wish, it was a representative. Over time, that repetition became truth. People ask me how I stayed confident. I didn't wait for it. I trained it. I built confidence like a muscle. Every day I told myself I was improving, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. And slowly the doubts faded, not because I ignored them, but because I overpowered them with mental reps. Discipline in thought means not letting your mind wander. It means noticing when it drifts into weakness. and pulling it back with force. That's not easy. But like lifting weights, it becomes easier with practice. When the mind tries to spiral, you must redirect. Again and again, until control becomes natural. In the beginning, your thoughts will resist you. They will try to return to comfort, to excuses, to fear. That is the test. Just like your body fights against new exercises, your mind fights against new beliefs. But repetition breaks resistance. Keep training, keep repeating, control will come. Every morning I gave my mind a warm-up, just like my muscles. I chose 5 strong thoughts and repeated them aloud or in silence. I am focused, I am prepared, I adapt, I endure, I create. These were not just affirmations, they were mental armor. Repeated often enough, they became who I was. You cannot expect mental strength without mental practice. No fighter steps into the ring untrained. So why step into your day without training your mind? Each powerful thought is a representative. And just like the body, the mind grows with effort. Your thoughts shape your reactions, your decisions, your future. When you repeat weakness, you become weak. When you repeat strength, you become strong. Most people say, I can't help how I think. But I say, train it, direct it. You are not your thoughts. You are the master of your thoughts, but only if you choose to be. You must be consistent. One day of training won't make you strong. One day of positive thinking won't erase years of doubt. But if you show up daily, with intention, with effort, you will see the shift. Not all at once, but surely. Your mind will begin to reflect your power, not your fear. So I say to you, train your thoughts like reps. Do not let weakness go unchecked. Do not let doubt repeat louder than discipline. Choose your thoughts like you choose your actions, with precision. Repeat them with strength, and over time your mind will become your greatest weapon. The moment you wake up, your body whispers, rest a little more. But comfort is not your ally. It is your trap. If you choose ease first thing, you weaken your power for the rest of the day. I didn't rise for comfort. I rose for purpose. The warrior moves before his mind finds excuses. Comfort first thing in the morning is a message to your brain. Today, we will follow weakness. That's not how I lived. I trained myself to act before thought, to move before comfort could seduce me. When you reject comfort early, you build momentum, and momentum destroys laziness. Your morning decisions shape your mental armor. If you hit snooze, scroll your phone, or delay action, you are practicing surrender. I didn't allow that. I moved, even tired, even sore. Because if you start with comfort, you will crave it all day. But if you start with discipline, you carry strength. The body wants warmth, stillness, and ease, but the warrior must interrupt that instinct. Each day you rise, you must remind your body who is in charge. That begins with action, not thought, not feelings, just movement. Comfort comes later, after you've earned it with sweat and effort. I trained myself to love the hard start, cold air, early silence, sore muscles, because every hard start made the rest of the day feel light. That contrast gave me control. People wait to feel ready. I created readiness by doing what was hard when it was hardest. Comfort teaches the mind to delay, but discipline teaches it to decide. I never gave myself too many choices in the morning. I had rituals, routines, actions, not options. Comfort thrives in hesitation, but purpose lives in motion. The less you think, the faster you grow. Success is not built during the easy moments. It's forged in discomfort. So I made discomfort my teacher. When others wrapped themselves in blankets, I wrapped myself in resolve. My routine was not about pain, it was about power. Power to choose struggle when others ran from it. Comfort is not rest. It's surrender disguised as kindness. True rest comes after meaningful effort. Most people mix the two. They rest without earning it. I never did. I started the day with resistance because it made me stronger, sharper, and harder to break. Every time you choose comfort first, your resistance muscle shrinks. But when you push through the urge to delay, that muscle grows. I built mine through cold mornings, tough workouts, and mental repetition. I didn't just want strength, I wanted control, and that starts by beating comfort. If your first victory of the day is over your own mind, then the rest of the day is already yours. That's why I trained early, not to impress, but to dominate my inner weakness. People think I was motivated. Number, I was simply unwilling to let comfort lead me. Comfort makes you forget your mission. It softens your mind, blurs your clarity, and steals your edge. I didn't allow it near me, not when I was building. You must treat the morning as sacred. Protect it from comfort. Fill it with power. That's how warriors rise. So remember, if you choose comfort, you choose weakness. And if you choose discomfort, you choose growth. The world rewards those who move with force, not those who wait to feel ready. Every morning, choose what's hard. Because when you master that, you can master anything. Each morning I fed my mind before the world could poison it. Just as your body needs fuel, your mind needs strength. I didn't scroll through noise, I opened wisdom. One sentence, one paragraph, one idea. That's all it takes to sharpen your edge. Read not for escape, but for clarity. You become what you consume. Read weak things, and your mind weakens. Read truth, discipline, and power, and your thoughts will follow. Every morning, I chose words that challenged me. Not comfort, but confrontation. Growth comes from reading what demands your attention, not what confirms your ease. Reading focused me. It cut through the fog. A single quote could shape my entire day. I didn't need volume, I needed value. One idea practiced is more powerful than 1,000 forgotten. Read slow, read deep. Let the words leave a mark. While others were distracted, I was absorbing, not just information, but philosophy. I read to understand myself, to discipline my emotions, to guide my actions. I wasn't looking for entertainment. I was looking for tools, tools to live better, tools to think sharper. You don't need to read for hours. 5 minutes of strong reading is more valuable than 50 minutes of noise. Choose your content like you choose your training. Intentionally. I read from masters, from warriors, from the wise. What I read, I lived. That's how I grew. A good book is like a mirror. It shows you who you are and who you could be. When I read, I wasn't escaping life. I was preparing for it. One idea in the morning could become a weapon I carried all day. That's why I never missed it. Read before the world speaks to you, not after. Before the noise, before the doubt, before the chaos. Fill your mind with strength early, and nothing can shake it later. Your first words of the day should not come from the world, they should come from wisdom. I often return to the same books. Why? Because mastery doesn't come from reading more. It comes from understanding deeper. Some books I read a dozen times. Each time they gave me something new, because I had changed, I had grown, and now I could receive more. I kept a notebook of powerful ideas. One sentence could become a mantra. One thought could become a habit. I reviewed it often, not to memorize, but to internalize. What you write, you remember. What you remember, you become. That's mental training. Some days I read philosophy. Other days, strategy. But every day it was something that built me, something I could apply. Reading without action is like training without purpose. I didn't just want knowledge, I wanted transformation. That comes from applying what you read. Most people read to pass time. I read to command it. Each word was an investment in who I was becoming. Not everything you read will change you, but the right thing at the right time can. And if you seek it, you will find it. That is why I read each morning with hunger. So I say, read something that sharpens you, something that makes you uncomfortable, something that makes you think, something that prepares you for life's fight. Because when your mind is sharp, your decisions are clear, your emotions are steady, and your path is yours to walk. My strength didn't come from complexity. It came from repetition. I built my power on small, simple actions done every morning. A breath, a stretch, a moment of silence. These rituals were anchors. In a world full of chaos, I began each day grounded. The same actions, the same mindset. This created mental armor. You don't need 100 steps. You need 3 done with intention. I didn't complicate my mornings. I purified them. I chose rituals that connected me to discipline. That's the secret. Not in variety, but in consistency. Rituals train your mind to enter a state of readiness without force. That's control. A simple cup of tea, taken in silence, can be a ritual. Not rushed, not distracted, present. That's what mattered. I wasn't in a hurry to start fighting the day. I prepared to meet it with calm. When repeated daily, these moments become sacred. They shape how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Every warrior needs his rhythm, and rhythm is created by rituals. My body expected certain movements. My mind expected a certain start. These cues told me it's time to rise, not just physically, but mentally. Rituals signal readiness, and readiness becomes a habit of excellence. Some people say repetition is boring. I say it is mastery. You don't rise by doing different things every day. You rise by doing the same things better. I repeated actions not to feel good, but to get good. Each ritual refined me. Each day a little sharper, a little stronger. I didn't check my phone. I checked in with myself. I listened to my breath. I felt the ground. I stretched my limbs. These small acts reminded me I was alive, I was present, and I was powerful. That's what ritual gives you, not just routine, but awakening. Discipline starts with how you start. Most people hope for a strong day. I created mine through rituals, not when I felt like it, but every day, no matter what. That's what made me different. I didn't wait to be inspired. I inspired myself with repetition. Think of rituals like sharpening a sword. You don't do it once. You do it again and again, so it stays ready. That's your mind. That's your body. Every morning you repeat your ritual, you are sharpening your edge. So when life cuts deep, you don't break. You cut back. I had rituals for movement, rituals for stillness, rituals for focus. It wasn't about time, it was about energy. Even 5 minutes, done with presence, can shift your entire state. Your ritual doesn't need to impress others, it just needs to prepare you. When I traveled, when I trained, when I was under pressure, I kept my rituals. They were my foundation. They reminded me who I was. No matter the chaos outside, I returned to the same few actions that brought me clarity. That's why they worked. They brought me back to center. Don't underestimate simple things, a deep breath, a cold splash of water, a journal, a quote. Done once, they are nothing. Done daily, they become transformation. Your rituals define your rise, so choose them wisely and repeat them with honor. So I tell you, find your rituals, make them yours, keep them simple, repeat them daily, and never skip them, even when you don't feel like it. Because the man who owns his morning owns his mind, and the one who owns his mind owns his life. The first hour of your day is sacred. It is your foundation. If you let the world in too soon, messages, noise, distractions, you hand over your focus before it wakes up. I never allowed that. That hour belonged to me, and me alone. It set the tone for everything else. protect it, or lose yourself. When you give your first hour to chaos, you teach your mind to chase. When you claim it with discipline, you teach it to lead. The world pulls in 100 directions, but you must be still, strong, and rooted. This is how warriors rise, with intention, not reaction. People wake up and dive into notifications, news, gossip. I woke up and dove into silence, breath, and clarity. I didn't start with the world. I started with myself. That made all the difference. Don't let someone else's agenda invade your mind before your own purpose is spoken. The first hour is when your mind is most open, most raw, most programmable. That's when I shaped it. A few minutes of discipline early saved me from hours of distraction later. Most people don't see the cost of starting wrong, but you feel it all day long. You cannot train a sharp sword with dull habits. The first hour is your sharpening stone. That is when you prime your attention, your energy, your emotion. I didn't do anything complex. I just did what mattered with full presence. Rituals, breath, clarity, movement, simple, powerful, unbreakable. Even when I was tired, even when I was busy, that hour was non-negotiable. Why? Because if I didn't guard it, the day would steal it. Everyone wants your attention, but you must feed yourself before you feed the world. That's not selfish, it's survival. Guarding that hour means setting rules. No screens, no talking, no mental junk food. That's how you build strength, not just in the body, but in the will. You say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's essential. That's the mindset of a warrior. That first hour was not a performance. It was preparation. I didn't try to impress anyone. I tried to impress discipline onto my mind. The world tests you, but if you train your focus before sunrise, nothing can shake it after. That's the power of beginning right. Most people think the day begins with work. No, it begins with ownership. If you don't own your first hour, you will be owned by distractions all day long. So I made it a rule. Before the world speaks to me, I speak to myself. Through movement, through reflection, through silence. When you start slow and strong, everything that follows moves smoother. That first hour isn't about speed, it's about stability. I didn't rush. I didn't multitask. I moved with awareness, because the one who controls the beginning controls the outcome. There is no freedom in the morning if you don't protect it like a warrior. People will say, it's just 1 hour. But that 1 hour is where your identity is built. You either rise with power or stumble into weakness. Choose, and then guard that choice like your life depends on it, because it does. So I say, guard your first hour ruthlessly. Lock it down. Own it fully. Fill it with strength, silence, and strategy. Because when you master the beginning, the rest of the day cannot break you. And the man who owns his morning, he owns everything that follows. The way you step into the day determines how the day meets you. I didn't crawl into the world. I stepped in with intention, with strength. Your first full step must come from conviction, not confusion. Move with the mindset that nothing outside can shake the fire inside. Before the world pushes you, push yourself. When I left the silence of morning, I didn't drift. I drove forward. I spoke with purpose. I walked with strength. You must carry that inner command into everything. That's how the world learns it cannot move you. Energy is a choice. You either let the day decide your pace, or you set it. I set mine early, with posture, breath, clarity. Every step said, I am here to lead, not follow. That energy didn't come from motivation. It came from daily mental training. Most people step into the day hoping for peace. I stepped in ready for war, not because I wanted chaos, but because I trained for it. Peace is not luck, it's earned by strength. And strength is created in the morning when no one is watching. To walk with power, you must first think with power. I began each day by deciding who I would be, not what would happen. The events are never in your control, but how you carry yourself through them, that is always yours to command. Some days will challenge you the moment you walk out the door. That's why you must build your energy before the world tests it. You do not rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. Step out like the fight has already begun. When I stepped into the day, I wasn't just showing up, I was showing out. For myself, for my mission, for my values. That mindset became my armor. It told the world, I am not here to survive this day, I am here to dominate it. Step into the day with focus in your eyes, not wandering, not wondering. Let your presence be felt before you speak. Your actions should say, this person is not ordinary. This person has done the inner work, and nothing can break that foundation. You do not need to be loud to be powerful. You need to be certain. I didn't start the day shouting. I started it grounded, focused, unmoved. The calmest man in the room often has the most strength. Step in with that calm force and watch how the world reacts. Let your walk be strong, your shoulders squared, your eyes forward, not as a performance, but as a declaration. I trained myself to enter every space with the energy of someone who knows why he's there. You don't need permission to carry power, just presence. When you step into the day weak, everything feels heavy. But when you step in like a warrior, the world feels light. That switch is mental. It happens before your first conversation, before your first task. Decide who you are, then walk into the day like you mean it. So remember this, how you enter the day is how the day will treat you. Step in with doubt, and the day will overpower you. Step in with power, and the world will move out of your way. Begin strong, walk sharp, and carry the energy of someone who cannot be shaken. You don't need more time, you need more purpose. And purpose begins the moment you wake up. Every morning, I chose to face myself before I faced the world. I didn't wait for the perfect feeling, I acted with intention. Discipline is not a mood, it is a decision, a habit, a way of life. You must train your mind in the quiet hours so it stays unshaken in the storm. That is the warrior's path. So ask yourself, will you let your morning control you, or will you command it? Will you drift into the day, or will you strike with clarity? The answer is in your routine. The answer is in your breath. Master your mornings, and you will master your life.